Ladies and gentlemen, from the SSE Arena, Wembley, here in London, England. Live on Sky Sports Box Office and DAZN, we are set to go with a special cruiserweight attraction. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by Betfred, Lannistar, Wow Hydrate, and JD Sports. This bout is sanctioned under the auspices of the European Boxing Union. The president, Mr. Bob Logist, the supervisor, Mr. Robert W. Smith. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest from ringside. From Denmark, Jan Christensen. From England, Mark Lyson. And from Belgium, Daniel van de Wiel. Your timekeeper from England is Bob Edgeworth. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring from Scotland, A-star referee, Mr. Victor Loughlin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant European Cruiserweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, standing with his head trainer, Francesco Camposeo. He wears the red with the black stripe. He scaled 14 stone, 3 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, 25 victories against 1 defeat. He has 2 draws and 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He fights out of Ninove, East Flanders, Belgium. He is the IBF Intercontinental Cruiserweight Champion. Introducing Bilal Bilanimo Lagoon. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He stands with his head trainer, Pete Taylor. He wears the black, green, and gold. He also scaled at a trim and ready 14 stone, 3 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, 16 victories against 2 defeats. He has 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Belfast, Northern Ireland, he is the WBC International Cruiserweight Champion. Please welcome the Mac Attack, Tommy McCarthy.
So some final words then from Victor Loughlin, the third man in the ring. Bilal Lagoon composing himself. Solid operator, and not an easy night this for Tommy McCarthy.
Second out.
Scheduled for 12 then for the vacant European Cruiserweight title. A title vacated by Lawrence Okolie, who will be boxing on that Joshua Pulev undercard for the world title against the Pole Krzysztof Glowacki. And it's a belt that has been held by a lot of guys that have gone on to win world titles over the years. The likes of Johnny Nelson and David Hay and Carl Thompson, what a fighter he was. Marco Huck, the German. Enzo Maccarinelli, the Welshman. Grigory Drodz, remember him? And of course Tony Bellew. All of them held this belt. All of them moved on to the highest level. Which one of these two can take that next step?
Both guys trying to establish the jab early in the fight. Lagoon going to the body with a solid jab. McCarthy trying to find a home for his. Which you can see Lagoon is a solid man, a solid puncher too. McCarthy has to be careful here not to get caught early.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that the record doesn't suggest he's anything particularly dangerous, but the only loss that he sustained was a split decision against Dudu Ngumbu. That was back at light heavyweight. He moved up after that. I mean, for that fight, he weighed 174.5. In his next fight, he was 10 pounds higher than that. The fight after that, 9 pounds higher, and here he's clocked in at just under 200 pounds. So, and he's had 5 fights at the cruiserweight level, not against great opposition, it has to be said, but he's got rid of everybody that he's faced last time out. Just over a year ago now. He stopped one Elvis Smilovich in 3. Elvis was all shook up and left the building. So the opponents might not have been good, but he's just looked. It's a big transition to make from light heavy to cruiserweight, isn't it? And he's been smart in just taking his time to make that transition, Lagoon.
It's a jump of 25 pounds, and it's the most significant jump in all of the weight divisions. Landing some good clean shots here so far, Lagoon. Already some reddening on the left eye of McCarthy. This is that using his jab and setting his rhythm. Doesn't need to be holding his feet too long with Lagoon, because Lagoon looks to be quite heavy-handed. Good jab back from McCarthy there.
Yeah, but took the first one as well. So an intriguing battle of the jabs here early. Now they both go again. Lagoon showing some good movement to avoid the McCarthy jab. McCarthy's 2 defeats have been against domestic opposition. He lost to Matty Askin. Was down twice in the 4th round, showed great heart. Askin went on and won the British title in his next fight, and then he rebuilt but was stopped in 4 by the big hitting Richard Riakporhe about 18 months ago. Riakporhe was British champion 2 fights later, so that's twice he reached pretty much the top step domestically and tripped up.
Both of those losses, there's no shame in either of those losses. Askins and Riakporhe. Riakporhe's a really, really good fighter who want to do good things in the sport. So, although both of these guys have losses, you know, both of those losses from either guy have come against really good opposition.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, these are 2 live ones, no question. Speaking of live, well, here he comes. Derek Chisora, Del Boy. The man who's had so many ups and downs in his career. Is it going to be the end of that career tonight, or is it going to be another huge uptick for him if he can pull off the shock that nobody thinks he can do except him and his new mentor, David Haye? Well, not so new mentor now, David Haye. What a partnership they proved to be. He's in the building.
That's leaking top now. I don't want 1 attack. No, only 1, 2. We want 2 attacks. So we make 1, 2, we get out, then we make a second phase. No single phase attacks. Yes.
Corners, 10 seconds. Second out, round 2.
Round 2 then. You talked about the defeats, and we have to talk about the defeats, of course, because sometimes it's the defeats that define a fighter. Both of them have lost at a very, very good level, and the expectation was that Tommy McCarthy would lose last time out when they took him to Trento in Italy to take on the unbeaten Fabio Turchi, and he was having none of it, and he showed just how much he'd improved under Pete Taylor's tutelage, and I think that'll give him a lot of confidence mentally as well to get a win like that on the road. Double it up, started off with the body jab, but the Lagoon defences were solid, certainly as far as upstairs was concerned.
Just waiting a little bit too long for me, McCarthy. Looking to counter a bit too much. He's having success with it, but I would also like to see him do his own work.
There's a nice little flurry there from Lagoon as well. All coming off that jab. Now that's a bit more like it from McCarthy.
Good break-up jab from McCarthy.
Yeah.
When he's like this, feinting before the attack, he's quite effective and having success. So I think he should try to stick to that tactic.
Oh, Lagoon rather overcommitted there, but lucky not to get tagged. That was a bit more like it. Clever up from the Belgian. Yeah, good response from McCarthy to getting caught by that jab. It's the counter jab that's coming back so quick. And he's catching the eye.
McCarthy has to be careful when he's pulling back, trying to evade the right hand of Lagoon, because he's pulling back quite high. And well, just one, he evaded it the first time, but the second time Lagoon did land. Like that, when Lagoon throws the right hand, he should be getting low instead of pulling out high.
It is such a strange atmosphere, of course, for all the fighters. We're getting used to it. As TV viewers, we've seen so many behind closed doors bills now, but I think when you're fighting in this environment for the very first time, it must be so strange. Normally you can't hear your corner. Now you can hear everything so clearly. Just, that's nice. McCarthy with that raking left hand. It's been a better round for him.
And goes to the body well too.
Still a decent jab coming back from Lagoon, and the battle of the jabs you just feel is going to be absolutely crucial in this one.
Well, it's what they do off the jab. Good uppercut inside from McCarthy there.
Yeah, as you say, it's what they do off the jab. It's the jab that sets everything else up. What's following on? Nice from McCarthy again. Yeah, had the last word at the end of the round as well. Much, much better round for the Belfast man there.
You don't like it when you put the pressure on him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you feel that?
Yeah.
But don't let him out jab you in the first 2 minutes of the round. Okay? The first 2 minutes.
Oh, you talk about what's coming off the jab.
Okay?
Long raking right hands like that.
Well, you saw that McCarthy pulled out high.
The first 2 minutes.
Always going to be on the tail end of the punch at that stage, so has to get low.
Jabs, come back with something. Next time, all right? You're not climbing with that right hand over the top.
Yeah.
Just try
Now
it.
you're going.
Trying to tell me this lad is not in your league, is he?
That's Pete Taylor in the corner, the father of Katie Taylor.
First 2 minutes. A little bit more, a little bit more busy. Last minute you're winning every minute. Okay. Come on now. Come on.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Derek Chisora waits in his dressing room. Still got a while before our main event. A couple of good ones after this. Really good bill at Wembley, despite some of the problems that they've had this week. There's always issues in these days. I think COVID's got more knockouts to its name than anybody else. Boxing this year, that's for sure, in sporting terms. Yeah, there goes that jab again. And a decent response from Lagoon. Likes the body jab, doesn't he, the Belgian?
And McCarthy can't give too many of those away. No, it's only a jab, but they do take their toll and they do add up.
There he is looking for the body again, and McCarthy just rolling away from that right hand over the top, following up.
McCarthy, you can see, has the skills, has the tools. I wonder, does he believe in his conditioning? Because he seems to be just, maybe he's quite clever. He's pacing himself a little bit, I think, knowing that's a tough fight. May go 12 rounds. Because I think he's not giving everything he can in each moment. Maybe that's because he doesn't believe in the conditioning that he has. Lagoon is picking up. Oh, good right hand exchange there.
Yeah, it really was. I tell you, it was Lagoon right hand. Yes, he whistled past the chops of McCarthy there. Well, it's a slow burner, Andy, but it's fascinating, isn't it? They look very evenly matched. Nice little left hook to the body there from McCarthy, but again, he's looking to just get this jab going here, Lagoon, and when he's jabbing, he's comfortable. Again, the body work from McCarthy. Yeah, he's committed like that a couple of times in this fight and left himself open, Lagoon. Got away with it again.
Hold on, come on, go up to the front, Tommy, let him go. Last 30, Tommy, work, last 30.
And you always want to catch the eye in those last 30 seconds.
Got caught with a counter left hook there, McCarthy. Well anticipated by Lagoon.
Back of the head, come on, let him go. Work, Tommy, work.
They look for the right hand there, McCarthy, and the left hand of Lagoon was up to block it. Certainly at the moment, this is looking like a fine margins fight. Lovely body shot there to end the round from McCarthy. But it's another round that both had some success.
You let him steal that round there. Okay. You let him steal that round.
Pete Taylor's saying it. You let him steal that round. He might just have done enough to nick it, you know.
They're making these rounds too. That round was subjective. So we can't do that. That's the last round like that coming out. Okay. Don't stay in there.
Yeah, he's hearing about it from Pete Taylor, isn't he? I don't want another round like that.
Two jab right hand.
Okay.
More. Now come on, I want more. I want more from you. Okay, and I don't want to be caught with stupid jabs.
Yeah.
Right, I want you to come back with something all the time, right? When you put the pressure on
Get
him,
no drink.
when you're putting the pressure on him, That's brutal. Just give me a different bottle next time.
Corner.
You put the pressure on him.
Take it out. Round 4.
Round 4 then of this 12-rounder for the vacant European Cruiserweight title. That was some list of former champions I reeled off there, wasn't it? There's a lot of guys that have won this and gone on to operate as high-level world champions as well. And that'll be the goal for the winner of this one here.
Lagoon starts every round very well, has a very hard pace and comes out for firing a lot of hard shots. He started this round very well, particularly.
Quiet, quiet. Right, let him go. Get back.
Well, although he has that defeat, Lagoon, he has boxed for this title before, ended up with a draw. It was one of those split draws against Ukrainian Dmytro Kucher, who went on and won it next time out against Enzo Maccarinelli, former champion himself, Welshman. And it was Lagoon that found himself on the outside looking in, waiting for his chance. Well, here is his second opportunity. A third may not come along. And again, it's still this battle of the jabs going on. There's that nice left to the body from Lagoon as well. Now, not all these jabs are landing, and Lagoon has been short with a lot of those jabs of his, which would suggest that McCarthy's judging the distance pretty well, but enough aren't getting through.
Let go, come on.
Very, very tactical this at the moment.
Come on,
It's interesting what you said about McCarthy and does he trust his conditioning, because both these guys look very early on in this fight like they're set for the long haul here, aren't they?
And it's Lagoon who's blowing the harder of the two. Maybe starting to find a little bit of rhythm now, McCarthy. With Lagoon tiring, maybe he can start to anticipate his punches coming at him. But he's certainly ending this round better.
Yeah, he's got a bit of confidence there, hasn't he, dropping the gloves down to the hips. Sort of daring his man to come in. It's either a show of real confidence or an absolutely crazy way to fight. Obviously, McCarthy feels very comfortable, and he's just trying to send the message out to here to Bilal Lagoon. Yeah, you can't hurt me. I'm not bothered by you. Come and get me. Daring him, looking to pick him off with the counter here. Will Lagoon take the bait? But McCarthy, interesting the way he's just dropped his hands in that round, as if to say, yeah, come on.
Hello.
And the great man is in the building as well. Alexander Usyk, nothing phases him. Been all over the world as an amateur, unbeaten as a professional. World Championship gold, Olympic gold, unified cruiserweight champion. Now running with the big dogs. The next step on that journey is coming up in a couple of hours' time here in Wembley, northwest London. You know, just as we had a look at Usyk coming in there and seeing McCarthy coming back up, the body language in the two corners is very, very different here, isn't it? Lagoon did not look happy going back to his corner there.
Round 5.
You may well be right, Andy, that he's blowing a bit and feeling it a little bit.
But he does start every round hard. Maybe that's what's taking his toll later on in the round. Because he put so much effort like that. Good right hand from Lagoon there. But as you can say, the fighters are picking up on these things instinctually. It's McCarthy who does look more comfortable with the way things are going. Looks to be finding the rhythm himself.
A little bit low from McCarthy. But no, forget the high guard. McCarthy's not having any of that. Nice little sharp little left hook in there as well. Lagoon continues just to try and press forward here, but missing again, and he is missing a lot with these jabs.
Stay back, let him go. Oh, now, come on, both of you. Working out, come on. A
little telling off for Lagoon. I think he was very happy just to be leaning on him there, wasn't he? He was drawing in the breath there. Now, I wonder if they'll notice this and react in the McCarthy corner. If McCarthy just goes through the gears here a little bit, Lagoon might have trouble staying with him.
But still looking to counter punch McCarthy. Not really taking the initiative or trying to assert himself. Just capitalising on the tired, lazy work of Lagoon.
Again, he's falling in and just happy just to sit on the chest of McCarthy, buy himself a break.
Good right hand left hook from Lagoon. You got to be very careful when you're shoulder rolling like Tommy McCarthy is, that you don't roll back into a right hand.
Still looking for the body shots there as well. McCarthy landed a right hook a few moments ago, looked to follow it up there as well. Last 30 seconds of this fifth round then. And it's McCarthy now on the front foot here. There is the body work again. He really is. This time it's left hooks to the body. Now a noticeable attack in this round to the body from McCarthy. Switch upstairs, but there he goes again with one of those right hands to the midsection. Followed up with the body shot again.
Lagoon really starting to look tired now. Tommy should pick up the pace.
Tired now. Does he have any power?
No.
No power. No. So you can take chances now.
Yeah.
Right. So now start pushing him, pulling him, pushing him down, or walking him down a little bit more, now. But not behind a tight guard.
Yeah,
punching.
yeah.
You understand? We set the tempo up now, right? Set the tempo up.
There we go.
He's
Pete
only
Taylor
gonna be
saying
dangerous
let's
for 20
raise
seconds
the
of this
tempo.
round. He's no power, has he?
Yeah, no.
Right. So let's start pushing.
Did you hear earlier in that exchange, he said, "You feeling his power?" He said, "No." He said, "Take some chances then."
Come on. You can see him at the end of every round. He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. So
I'm winning, hold on.
yeah, but start the tempo a little bit quicker. Right? But there's too many subjective rounds.
All right.
I'm not
Corners, 10 seconds.
Good corner work there from Pete Taylor.
Round 6.
So many people get so animated and wound up about scorecards, but as Pete Taylor said, this is a subjective sport. You don't want to make it subjective. At the moment, there's a lot of close rounds here. You and I both have McCarthy just starting to impose himself here against an opponent who looks like he's feeling it a bit. You said it a couple of rounds ago. He starts around fast, but he fades pretty quickly now, doesn't he, Lagoon? If McCarthy can match him in the early going, I wonder how we go a full 3 rounds at a fast tempo. A full 3 minutes, excuse me. That's nice. Lagoon gets another one of those uppercuts through. It's all very well saying take some chances that you're not feeling his power. It's a bit of a risk if he lands clean.
I'm sure he's feeling the power. But maybe he just didn't want to admit it to his coach. Lagoon is picking every jab with his right hand. And a lot of the time he's drawing his hand to catch the jab. As you saw there, if McCarthy can just turn that jab into a hook, I think it could be a very telling punch for him. I think instinctively McCarthy is sensing now that Lagoon is tiring, slowing, maybe wilting. And you can see now he's trying to pick up the pace.
Yeah, nice. Again, working the jab.
Should go to the body now, McCarthy. Should go to the body.
Well, he's looked for the body in the last round, and as you say,
There you go.
Now, he's listening to you. Oh, we just missed with that left hand, Lagoon.
Let it go. Go.
Gotta be careful with the shoulder roll, McCarthy.
Nice right hand to finish the exchange from the Irishman.
Some signs of distress from Lagoon now.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's just taken a bang there, the way he reacted. I think he was feeling to see if he was cut. He's not.
McCarthy should go straight for that eye. Go straight for him.
Yeah, he's not happy. He's not comfortable. Yeah, he's really not comfortable.
But it's not the roof.
I wonder what's happened there.
Like something in my eyes.
He can't stop the fight like this.
That's not the roof.
No,
Give me a doctor.
he's taking the gum shield out. Tell you, he's not happy with something. He said it's something in his eye.
The fight should be over.
No, I don't give up.
He's saying I don't give up, but
It's something is that which I both of them.
Can he continue?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
well, he's saying I can carry on, but
Two.
Keep them open for a moment.
Can I?
The referee looks bemused.
How many fingers am I holding? Come back to 1 second. How many fingers am I holding?
2.
Try again.
Let's go. 3.
Right. Turn away again, and you're giving up. Okay, Jim.
right, yeah, and Victor Loughlin's given him the benefit of the doubt there. That's very lenient, but he was put on notice there. Turn away again. You're out of there. A sure sign that he was in some distress. Last 30 seconds then of this 6th round, and Bilal Lagoon very unhappy, and McCarthy looking to up the ante here. Thinking maybe I can get the stoppage.
Go to the body first.
Well, Lagoon's all over the place, isn't he? He really does need to get back to his stool and just settle down and get his head clear. Well, that was a mental break. I mean, obviously something happened to his eye, but it's a big, big breakdown for him mentally as he eventually heads back to his corner. Very, very unhappily. He's been blowing hard. Well, seeing a bit of everything now. He reacted as if he'd been cut. Well, that's what's done it. That's what's caused the problem. Yeah, like I say, he poured at it like he thought, oh, that's been cut. Realised he wasn't cut, but it certainly messed with his head.
It was this next left hook. It's like a cuffing punch. It kind of comes along, not this one, but it kind of scrapes along the front of his face, and then he dabs at it. Strange.
10 seconds. Second out. Round 7.
Round 7 then. Tommy McCarthy in the predominantly green trunks has shaken up Bilal Lagoon. Let's see how the Belgian can respond though, as he managed to get his head clear. Big, big prize on the line here. The European Cruiserweight title. And the feeling is that McCarthy has got the momentum. There's another one of those nice left hooks to the body. Let's see if Lagoon can respond. Got a good right hand around the back of the guard. Well, at least he's coming forward again, Lagoon. But just doesn't look like he can sustain a burst, can he? He throws a combination or two and then just has to get in close and hold and lean on McCarthy.
So McCarthy just composed himself now. Gathers himself, puts 4 or 5 good shots together. This fight could be over. Doesn't need to be in there holding or be up close or below. Just keep his distance, put his shots together.
It's Lagoon's hands that have dropped here. And he's definitely right on the back foot once again after that little burst. And he's not a back foot boxer at all. Bilal Lagoon is a great... Get him out of there midway through this 7th round. Nice double jab from McCarthy. Well, Lagoon does look like he's finding this very, very tough. His work's getting ragged. He's looking to cling on at every opportunity. He just looks gassed. Oh, that's a nice shot. Well, that'll recharge the engines. McCarthy needs to watch this fella. There he is again with that right hand. McCarthy says he's not bothered by his power, and he's taken those two right hands very well, but Lagoon looks like he might be finding his second wind here in this 7th round. Nice little sharp uppercut as well from the Belgian. Well, this is a bit of a turnaround, isn't it? We were just, both of us, I think, thinking, oh, Lagoon looks ready to go here, and instead it's the Belgian that's having much the better of it. Let's see if McCarthy can finish the round strongly.
Somewhere in between McCarthy not going in for the kill, he's found some hope and some new enthusiasm, and he's managing to land some good punches in this round. Much better for McCarthy to finish the round. Good body shot.
Yeah,
really good body shot.
Needed that. This is a good finish from him. And again, Lagoon at the end of that round, looking like he was feeling it again. That was a strong finish, but was it enough to win the round, though? Well, what a strange round that was from Lagoon, looking like he was ready to pack up and go home. Suddenly he found new life from somewhere, and then right at the end, McCarthy came and took it off him again.
Plus dans ta garde, Bilal, mets-lui les coups. Tu le touches plein de fois.
He steps forward, you make him right hand, you can see he's coming. Give another drink.
Corners, 10 seconds.
Right hand's coming. Right hand's when he's coming in there, right?
Seconds out. Round 8.
Round 8 then. I don't think we could call it a classic, it's anything but that, but it's certainly an interesting one, isn't it? Can't quite work out what's coming next. It's a sharp start from McCarthy again. Lagoon looking to hold again. And McCarthy looking to be quite happy there as well.
He was saying in between the rounds that he was tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lagoon clearly exhausted. Who wants it more now? That's what it could come down to. Question of desire. And who's hungrier?
Yeah. Well, we are early in this 8th round, and you just feel this is a gut check time for both these guys now.
This is a 12-round fight too. That's not something these guys have experienced that quite often. It's a different mindset when you're going in for a 12-round fight.
Lagoon again just has that disinterested look about him. I think he's feeling sorry for himself again, but that could be when he's at his most dangerous. McCarthy again looking for the counters, and then again looking to hold. And Victor Lachlan just leaving them to it, but that is two very, very tired big fellas in there. That really is. Oh, this has turned into a slow dance right now. Again, McCarthy looking for the body work, but he can't sustain an attack. Well, the guy that can find a second wind here wins this fight. Nice from McCarthy, gets the combination in, still doing the better quality work, McCarthy, even if it is in sporadic little bursts. Some of the quality has gone from Lagoon's work. Well out of range there. McCarthy. Well, it's the bodywork that has paid a dividend for McCarthy. He's neglected it in this round. There he goes. There's the switch downstairs.
20 seconds, Tommy. Spin around. 20 seconds.
There we go again. He gets that 20-second call and then comes to life. Again, good body work from McCarthy right in the final few seconds of the round. That was a good round for McCarthy. They didn't have dressing rooms like this in your days, did they, Andy? But then again, you weren't a unified world champion and an Olympic gold medalist. Alexander Usyk.
I certainly wasn't FaceTiming before my fight either.
A private bar over there as well. What's the game come to? Game's gone. You can just imagine Alexander Usyk. He could be like the rock star that demands a rider. You know, he was saying, "I want this, I want that."
At this stage in the fight, with both guys being tired, it's about energy management. You know, managing their energies, picking their spots. And it might come down, like you said, the last 20 seconds, last 30 seconds of a round where they have a little flurry at the end that might steal the shot, steal the round. But pick their spots, work when it suits you, and then rest when it suits you.
I've had McCarthy stealing a lot of these middle rounds. I just can't make a case for Lagoon doing enough to win any of the last four.
I've got the exact same way.
You and I have got to go. Stop going to the same tailor, mate, I tell you. But that's exactly it, though. He just can't see what Lagoon is doing to win a round at the moment.
It's frustrating because you can see both guys have some skill. Tommy probably the more skilled of the two. Both guys have ability. Lagoon putting on some good pressure now, but both guys have skill. But due to their lack of conditioning, they're unable to sustain attacks. Good exchanges here.
It's a nice right hand from Lagoon, but he's been knocked, caught there, and this time McCarthy does sense there's an opening. He's going for it here, and Lagoon's not responding well to pressure. McCarthy loading up with the shots, and he'll have burned a lot of energy there, and Lagoon is still standing, and that's a big right hand. One quality right hand to completely neutralise that avalanche from McCarthy, and suddenly it's the Irishman that looks like he's burned himself out.
Lagoon wasn't hurt, off balance and exhausted, fell on the ropes.
And I tell you, that was not an educated attack from McCarthy at all. He was just flailing away at arms and gloves.
It might have been slightly desperate in hope to get Lagoon out of there, or that the referee might jump in and stop it.
Nothing of any quality landed at all, which is easy to say from this side of the ropes, of course, but you say Lagoon wasn't hurt, and he came out of that exchange and landed a beauty of a right hand that rocked McCarthy to his boots. That's nice from McCarthy. And Lagoon looks to try and find something. You mentioned McCarthy's conditioning very, very early on, Andy. I think you might have hit the nail on the head very early here. Conditioning is the key for both these guys now. And Lagoon, who I thought was out on his feet 3 rounds ago, looks like he has picked up a bit of a second wind here. He fancies this, the Belgian. Oh, he did well to slip inside that right hand, McCarthy.
Good finish to the round for McCarthy.
Yeah.
I just wonder what his preparation's been like for this fight, because in Ireland it's a level 5 lockdown. Gyms cannot open. I wonder how much sparring he's got, how much time he's got with Pete Taylor. Maybe we'll hear that after the fight, the reason for his conditioning. But right now he's not doing his talent justice with his lack of physical conditioning.
That was a much better round for Bilal Lagoon, despite that massive assault that came in from McCarthy, but it was a crude assault. As you say, he stumbled, the feet came together. It's just off balance there. McCarthy thought, oh, I've got it, moved in, but it's just a wild flurry from McCarthy, and he took this for his pains. Did land back, but he felt that right hand.
You see, he was more off balance, just more exhausted and fatigued. Probably thought the ropes were a lot closer behind him than they actually were.
Petit pas de côté, boum. Tu restes trop dans l'axe un petit peu.
Actually, that wasn't the right hand that we saw in that replay from Lagoon. He landed a right hand after that flurry from McCarthy that really did shake the Irishman, and he did well to absorb it.
Round 10.
Championship round time for these two. Lagoon might have given himself a bit of a platform in that last round. He's going to need a strong finish, you feel?
I think he needs a knockout in that Lagoon to win the fight, but he's got a chance of doing that because of the exhaustion of both fighters.
Yeah. I'd slightly disagree with you. I think if he can clearly win these last 3 rounds, then it's a coin toss. But yeah, you don't want to leave it that close anyway, do you? You've got to come in and say, right, I need the stoppage. I've at least got to put my man on the floor. McCarthy has been down before and got up. He was down twice against Matty Askin and was stopped in 4 by Richard Riakporhe, who is a thunderous puncher. Lagoon gets through with the right hand. Tough guy stuff in the centre of the ring there, isn't it? Neither one of them wanted to back up. Both wanted to just show the other one how strong I still am, how full of running I am. I'll tell you, I mentioned Richard Riakporhe, the British champion. If he's watching this, he'll be on the phone to Eddie Hearn saying, give me the winner. He'll fancy this.
He's got to be careful, I said earlier, with that shoulder roll, McCarthy, because he's not taking his back foot, he's not stepping out of the range with his shoulder roll, he's just rolling, coming straight back into the right hand of Lagoon.
They both look desperately tired, but they've looked this way virtually for the last half of the fight. No, those were blocked. Lagoon's done a nice job of blocking some of McCarthy's work. That got through. Lovely counter right hand from McCarthy at the end of that exchange. And then both of them just cling to each other. A couple of guys in the wreckage at sea, aren't they? Just grabbing hold of anything they can get. Nice right hand, McCarthy, to finish that exchange. Last 30 seconds. This is when McCarthy tries to go to work. Instead, it's Lagoon looking to land the jabs.
I think both men can see the finish line now, see that round 12, and actually putting in a bit more effort.
That was a decent little spell from Lagoon. It's another round he might just have pinched, you know. To use Pete Taylor's words again, subjective rounds. There's been a lot of them.
Very hard to score that round. I probably favour McCarthy.
Well, again, it's another one where they've had some success. McCarthy getting through there at the 3rd time of asking. Keeping the jab going as well, but then Lagoon looking to come back, and how often have we seen him like that, just draped over each other?
As tired as you are, he's like, come on now, dig deep now, Tommy, you can stop this like that. Okay, let's not take it to the judges, man.
Yeah. If you want to win this, you just stop it.
Don't take this to the judges. We don't want to go to the judges. Okay. That's too nerve-wracking. Okay. Let's take it now to him. Yeah. But don't let him hold you. Yeah. You're waiting like this for him to throw his punch. Don't wait. Throw your right hand, left hook straight away.
Andy,
don't wait for him.
Is this wise advice? If you're correct, and Tommy McCarthy is ahead on the cards, should he be looking for the stoppage here and not leave it to the judges?
Listen, the only way to guarantee victory is by knockout or stoppage. And he could easily outbox him the last 2 rounds, still not get on the score. Like, some of these rounds have been close. And I think they know if Tommy can compose himself, put his shots together the way he can get the stoppage here. Good left hook from McCarthy.
Yeah, Lagoon nodded as if to say, yeah, is that the best you got? Nice right hand to the body there as well from McCarthy. Boy, it's amazing how these two have saved something up for these later rounds. Nice from Lagoon. McCarthy's got to just weather this little storm. You know, war of attrition is a phrase that's often overused in boxing, but that sums this fight up perfectly. That's what it's been. Just survive, get through it.
Waiting too long, McCarthy, and Lagoon is having a lot of success now because he's just getting his firing his shots and getting off first. McCarthy's waiting, as Pete Taylor said in the corner, waiting on his right side, looking to roll and come back, but he should be just getting off first. Like that, good shots.
McCarthy drops the gloves again. And he is desperately, desperately tired. He's just happy just to soak time off the clock, isn't he, McCarthy? Here he is hanging on again. And Lagoon doesn't have the energy to throw him off either. And again, Lagoon getting through with that right hand, follows up with another one as well.
Tommy, push him right back. Tommy, you need to work this out, guys. Tommy, you need to work this out, guys. Tommy, come back. Ian, straight hard.
Lucky to get away with that, McCarthy.
Two big right hands from Lagoon there.
Yeah. That's a push.
Tommy, give it a right.
Last 30 seconds then of round 11. Nice right hand counter there as Lagoon was clumsy. There we go again. He's been smart finishing a lot of these rounds, the stronger as well, McCarthy. He has paced himself.
Tommy, you need to work this out. Tommy, win that right.
I was saying, you can hear Pete Taylor screaming at him, win the round. Let the judges know that you finished the round on top. How often do we see that right across the world? That sways the judges as much as anything. Never looked close to getting the stoppage, did he? But he did up the work rate significantly there, McCarthy.
You have to go out all guns
I thought Lagoon won that round.
I
thought he had the better quality shots.
Right, you've got to go out with everything, Tommy. Every time you, when he's too close, you're pushing him off with your shoulder. Then you meet him right-handed too. But don't let him come back into you. Come on, just sacrifice yourself now, right, Tommy?
Oh, you heard him say it. Pete Taylor saying, all guns blazing. One of those right hands. A couple of them coming in from Lagoon. Depending on how the judges have seen this could come down to who wins this last round. There is a judge from the UK and a judge from Belgium, and a Danish judge as well. McCarthy sent out with the words, all guns blazing.
He's on his toes here, trying to get his rhythm from his feet.
Will there be a late twist in this one? Oh, again, he was all over the place as he came in there, Lagoon. McCarthy not really in any position to make him pay. This is two guys that are going to be very happy to hear that final bell.
Tommy, you need to work him. Tommy, work him.
Well, less than 2 minutes to go here. Oh, lovely, lovely from McCarthy. Well, certainly on my card, it's Lagoon that absolutely needs the grandstand finish, and he's not getting it. He's not getting it. McCarthy, clever again, picking some shots, conserving his energy and being efficient here. And that's all that he's going to need. Lovely work again on the counter from McCarthy, and then clings on tight. So he's been very smart in this last round here, McCarthy. Well, I'll tell you what, if he boxed like this, he could have made it a lot easier for himself, you know.
I'm just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, look how different it looks. On his toes, moving away. If he don't, and Lagoon said, no, come here. And McCarthy, well, why would you?
Silly from Lagoon. Seconds are passing, he needs to press ahead and try and get a knockdown at least in the round. Good counter left hook from Lagoon. Smart last round from McCarthy.
Yeah, really. He's shown some real intelligence here, and he's not boxed to orders. He was told all guns blazing. He's been much smarter than that here. Picked a nice shot there as well. He stayed on his toes. He's stayed more active, busy. Looked so confident, and Lagoon's done nothing in this last round. Nothing at all. He's got 20 seconds left. Last few seconds, and that'll do it. Well, Lagoon goes back thinking he's won it. McCarthy, he thinks he's won it. It's one of those. There's only one winner on my card, and it's not Bilal Lagoon. But so many subjective rounds in there, you just don't know. The one thing we can say for certain about this fight, Andy, is both men gave it everything they had. But that last round, if there was any doubt, surely the way he's boxed here, McCarthy will have erased any of those doubts. Really clever and intelligent work from McCarthy.
And he's better than he showed tonight, really. Well, he has better skills. And he also has a lot of will, because he was completely exhausted in that fight, but he still got through it.
But so was Lagoon, who I thought was looking for the exit with that business with the eye. That was back in the 6th round, I think. You know, I thought, oh, Lagoon's looking for the exit. So he regrouped really well. It would be very interesting to know, you know, how his conditioning has been. Because he did not, even though he's won the fight for me, he never looked fresh and comfortable, and he certainly never looked like he was going to get the stoppage against a guy that looked like he was out of gas completely at the midway point. He let Lagoon back into it, and Lagoon certainly won some rounds in this fight. Well, there's no 120-108 scorecards in this fight, or there shouldn't be.
There's an argument to say that the fight should have been stopped after Lagoon turned away.
Well, that's another story altogether.
And if Lagoon somehow gets a decision here, if the judges see that he's the winner, then it will be a travesty.
Yeah, so it was extremely lenient refereeing from Victor Locklin.
I told you it was going to be over, man.
Yeah, good spirit at the end, which is what you usually see. Not always, but you usually see. Who's going to follow the likes of David Hay and Marco Haak and Grigory Drodz and Tony Bellew? The scorecards are getting tallied up. Who's going to be the next in line to pick up the European cruiserweight belt that was vacated by Lawrence Okoli, who is boxing in December for the WBO title? McCarthy thinks it's going to be him. He's got his arm raised already. But how do the 3 judges from the UK, from Belgium and Denmark see this one?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action here in London, England, we go to the judges' scorecards. Daniel van der Wiel, 114 even.
That's the Belgian judge.
Jan Christensen scored this bout 116 to 112. Mark Lyson scored this bout 116 to 113. Both for your winner by majority decision. And the new European Cruiserweight Champion, the McIntyre.
Yeah, it's Tommy McCarthy. I must admit, I'm looking at my card. I'm looking at 116, 112, and that looks about right. It's enough for McCarthy. There were subjective rounds in there. It wasn't a classic, but he showed some real heart to stagger through there, and in the typical generous spirit, he says, we'll have a drink tonight. And boy, they've earned a drink, those two.
It wasn't pretty, but he got the win, and more importantly, he got the European belt, which is really, really, historically, a significant title, and a big one to win, and a real step towards a world title.
You know what? You can box beautifully and get caught and end up with nothing. Or you can have a scrappy old ding-dong where you're not at your best. And as long as you walk out with the belt, you know which one you'll take every time. Job done for Tommy McCarthy. Not a classic, not his best performance, but somehow he's managed to just summon up enough to just stay in control of that. And I don't think two of those scorecards could be queried at all. The draw looked a little bit generous from the Belgian, but you have to say Lagoon certainly won rounds.
He was in the fight. He was dangerous all throughout. He had a sneaky right hand. But just his conditioning was it wasn't who was the better, it was who was in the worst condition, who was in the better condition.
Who
could survive the last 12 rounds.
Who had the best nutritionist? We don't often say that, do we? But it really did seem like that on one or two occasions there. But you know what? It's all worthwhile.